recently I had a video on all this bag of broken jewelry I had found. I purchased it at the Goodwill. I picked out some of the little bracelets. You can see I put a couple on my wrist here. Kind of fun to wear them. I am going to do a project for the My Year 2017 Facebook group, and it is the prompt for June, and that prompt is growth. This week the teacher is Jeri Bellini. I will put a link to her channel and to the Facebook group in the description box below. Jeri is really interested in recycling, and she used to own a bead store, the way I understand it. She goes to flea markets and finds all these interesting findings. I really enjoy watching her flea market find videos. Jeri did a project this week on a piece that you can make as a journal embellishment, possibly on the front cover. And she used metal foil. I do not have metal foil. And she used some metal findings that she found at the flea market. I don't have those. I have these really interesting jewelry pieces, bracelets like this I'm not likely to wear. I'm going to put a link to her video. Actually, she's got two of them on this project. One is how to construct it, and one is how to tarnish copper. I don't have copper, but I will go ahead and put a link to that because it is an interesting video to watch. Can I put this on my wrist? Oh sure, Mary, just do that. It's kind of heavy on the wrist. I'm not used to wearing a lot of jewelry. I'm going to use the pop can, which I don't do a lot of this either, but look in that broken jewelry box. I found this piece, and it's of three shapes, three body form shapes. It's a pin that they made out of pop cans, and they put these little legs and arms and little heads on there. So I thought that would really go nice with my pop can. So I'm just going to go ahead and construct this the best way that I know how, following her general pattern, using a pop can instead of foil. I'm just going to get started by puncturing my pop can with my scissors. These scissors, I love my Tim Holtz scissors. This is my very first pair, and I have not been easy on them. I use them for everything. They are like the Energizer Bunny. They keep going and going and going. I'm just going to puncture this can the best way I know how, and that was just by stabbing it. And then I'm going, you need to be careful if you're doing this. Don't cut yourself. I'm going to cut off the top. I should probably cut it a little bit more in here while I'm cutting, and I do have ragged edges on here. I begin by trimming off the top and the bottom of the pop can. It's fairly easy using my Tim Holtz scissors. Now I'm trimming up the sides, both sides, and then I flatten it out, get it to the shape that I want. Use the water jar to hold it while I'm cutting the strips. I think Jeri cut 8 strips. I could only get 7 out of mine, but I'm happy with it. Now I decide to use masking tape to hold it down, and then I trim those pieces to the same length, and now I'm just beginning to weave my jewelry pieces in. And these are just bracelets that was in that box of jewelry that I got at the thrift store. I'll never wear these, and they will have a happy life as a journal embellishment on one of my art journals. That red necklace there, I wish I wouldn't have trimmed it up like that. Both ends of it were too short, so I had to go to another piece. And here I'm just working with getting both pieces in. I'm still trying to get that red piece in, and finally I just set it aside and choose some other pieces. This is a silver necklace, beaded necklace. Right in here, I think I have to do a little bit of reweaving, but I get it done and I continue on. I'm using masking tape to hold things in place while I'm doing this weaving. As closer I get to the bottom, the harder it is to control everything. Now I'm weaving this longer necklace piece in there, and I trim it off, and I have to be really careful because the little beads will fall off at each end. I resolve that later toward the end of the project. I am tucking the strips underneath because they are going to be glued down to a surface. Still using my masking tape to stabilize things. Just getting everything in shape. Now I'm using some red crochet thread, and I'm going to thread it in and out and in and out. I'm doing blanket stitches around the edges, and I'm finding that that just helps hold everything together. I would have used a wire if I would have had some on hand, but I didn't have any, so I resorted to this crochet thread. And actually it adds a little bit of color to the border, and I'm really happy with it. Here I'm just threading it under, and I'm doing the last leg of the journey there, using masking tape yet to hold everything in place while I'm doing the stitching. Very happy with it. Then I'm just going to tie everything off. Now I'm going to tuck those pieces, the strips and the top underneath, and trim off the longer beads so everything's the same length. Okay, this is what I have. I really do. The more I look at it, the more I like it. I have a piece of foam from a meat tray, and I'm going to glue that to the back of this. So I'm going to turn this upside down. And you can see these pieces are loose, but that doesn't concern me. I'm going to use E6000. I have to show you this. That E6000 completely disintegrated that foam. Just disintegrated it. I picked it up to see how it was doing, and I go, oh, look at this. That was the foam. I did not realize that E6000 would do that. Very, very interesting. I have another shape out of cardboard. So let's do the same thing. We're going to get lots of E6000 on this. Just put a really thick layer on it. Let's see if we can't get this piece back on here. Got my red in there. Those little strips came up as I pulled on that piece off. I think this will work. No harm done to it as far as that goes, except for I don't have a foam piece anymore. Let's try to get this there. And I think I'll leave it just like that. I don't think I'll put the clamps on it. I'm just going to let this dry. I'm glad I checked it. I'm going to set it aside. And this is an old Illusions journal that I started a couple years ago. In fact, I started in, did I date this? Yes, April 16th, 2013. But what I'm going to do is paint this cover with this matte, it's called Pavement. But on this side, which is the front of the cover, I have taken my palette knife and done some scraping on this. And I really do like that. It just removes the extra thickness on here and kind of the uneven texture. And it adds more of a distressed look. So I'm going to do the same thing over here, but I wanted to show you where I'm going with this. The next thing I want to do is attach my embellishment, and you can see I put the key and my little pop can figures on there, and once I get this attached, I'm going to bring these down underneath of this, and I think I'll probably just glue them down so they look like they're dangling, but they won't dangle too much. And I'll have these threads. I haven't decided whether I want to keep them dangly or not. I am really happy with this. It is still tacky wet. I'm going to let it dry completely, and I think I'm going to call it finished. This is the metal embellishment inspired by Jeri Bellini at my year 2017. It's a pop can, and I wove pieces of broken jewelry in there. So Yeah, hey. And even this is a pop can. 3 figures here. And this is a key. Very happy with it. This definitely was a growth project for me, especially this and doing the cover. I feel like I'm learning new techniques all the time. One is never finished learning, and that's what makes art and mixed media so fun. I will see you on the next page.